Residuary powers under the Indian Constitution means the powers which have not been specifically enumerated in the Union list, State list and concurrent list. Residuary powers in the Indian Constitution have been assigned to Union Parliament only. Article 169 of the Constitution makes the provision for the abolition or creation of legislative councils in states. Fazl Ali Commission appointed in December 1953 to consider the question of state reorganization accepted language as the basis of reorganization of states. The first Backward Class Commission was appointed in 1953 under the chairmanship of Kaka Kalilkar. Which article of Indian Constitution allow the central government to create new state in India? Article 3. In India, a minister who is not a member of either House of Parliament will cease to be a minister after 6 months. The number of Lok Sabha members required to table a no-confidence motion against the Council of Ministers is 50. By which Constitutional Amendment Act was the elementary education made a fundamental right under Article 21-A? The 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002. A procedure whereby a proposed legislation is referred to the electorates for settlement by their direct votes is called referendum. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha can ask a member of the House to stop speaking and let another member speak. This phenomenon is known as yielding the floor. Which part of the Constitution of India deals with special provisions to SCs, STs, OBCs and Anglo-Indians? Part 16, Article 330 to 342. The provisions as covered by Article 343 to 351 under Part 17 of the Constitution of India deals with official language. The Interstate Council was established in 1990 in pursuance of the recommendation made by Sarkaria Commission, 1983 to 1987. Which article of the Constitution provides freedom to manage religious affairs? Article 26. When was the second Backward Class Commission under the chairmanship of B.P. Mandal appointed? 1979. When was reservation of 27% government jobs for other backward classes declared for the first time in independent India? 1990. Which article of Constitution declares that the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to State Legislative Assembly? Article 164. A governor, though he remains in office at the pleasure of the President, is an integral part of State Legislature. In which historic case did the Supreme Court of India hold that the preamble to the Constitution of India is a part of the Constitution and hence can be amended? Keswananda Bharti vs. State of Kerala, 1973. The duties of Chief Minister of a state with regard to furnishing of information to the governor is enshrined in Article 167. The provision of adjudication of disputes relating to waters of inter-state rivers or river valleys is laid down in Article 262. The idea of republic and the ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity as laid down in the preamble to the Constitution of India have been borrowed from French Constitution. The ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity as enshrined in the preamble to the Constitution of India have been taken from the French Revolution, 1789. The idea of directive principles of state policy in the Constitution of India has been borrowed from the Irish Constitution. The fundamental duties in the Indian Constitution are inspired by the Constitution of erstwhile USSR. The inclusion of a separate chapter on fundamental duties in the Constitution was recommended by Sardar Swarn Singh Committee. How many fundamental duties are in the Indian Constitution? 11. In which part of the Indian Constitution The fundamental duties are enshrined. Part 4 AM. Which schedule of the Constitution of India deals with powers, authority and responsibilities of municipalities? 12th schedule. Which part of Indian Constitution is described the Magna Carta of India? Part 3 containing fundamental rights, Article 12 to 35. The procedure for the amendment of the Constitution is laid down in Article 36. Which act provides for the disqualification of members of the Parliament or state legislature for indulging in corrupt practices? The Representation of People Act, 1951. By which act a nation wins network to provide free and competent legal aid to the poor and to organize Lok Adalats for promoting equal justice has been established? The Legal Services Authorities Act, 1987. In which case did the Supreme Court hold that the preamble is not the part of the Constitution? The Berubri Union case. The right to equal opportunity for all citizens in matter of public employment has been enshrined in Article 16. The three words which were added in the preamble to the Constitution of India by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 are socialist, secular and integrity. Where is the objective of social justice articulated in the Constitution of India? Preamble. Where in the Indian Constitution has economic justice been provided as one of the objective? Directive principle. The highest law officer in India is Attorney General. The name of a candidate for the office of President of India may be proposed by any 50 members of the Electoral College. The minimum number of members that must be present to hold the meeting of the Lok Sabha is 1/10 of the total membership of the houses. The members of Parliament can express themselves in the House in English, Hindi or mother tongue. The members of the Standing Committee are taken from the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in the ratio of 2 and 1 respectively. The President can be removed from his office before the expiry of his normal term only on the recommendation of the two Houses of Parliament. The Chief Election Commissioner of India holds office for a period of 6 years or till the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. The concept of Lokpal and Lokayukta has been taken from Scandinavian countries. Which of the following committee had recommended a report for forming the institution of Lokpal and Lokayukta? First Administrative Reform Commission. The Look East policy in India was started by which Prime Minister? P.V. Narasimha Rao. Who was the leader of Russia at the time of signing of the Indo-Soviet Treaty of Peace, Friendship and Cooperation? Leonid Brezhnev. In which year the anti-defection law was passed by Indian Parliament? 1985. The Article 343 of the Indian Constitution is about Hindi in Devangari script as official language. How many judges are there in the International Court of Justice? 15. Which was the first Soviet republic to declare its independence from Soviet Russia, USSR? Lithuania. How many non-permanent members does the UN Security Council have? 10. The 84th Amendment Act has frozen the total number of existing seats in the Lok Sabha on the basis of 1971 census. They shall remain unaltered till the first census to be taken after the year 2026. Which commission made the recommendations which formed the basis for the Punjab Reorganisation Act which created the states Punjab and Haryana? Shah Commission. Who formulates fiscal policy in India? Ministry of India. Who certifies a bill to be a money bill in India? Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Which High Court for the first time in India declared Bandh as illegal? Kerala High Court. Not to destroy the government property is a civil duty. When a bill is referred to a joint sitting of both the houses of Indian Parliament, it has to be passed by a simple majority of members present and voting. Who was the only Lok Sabha Speaker to have become the President of India? Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy. The Controller and Auditor General of India acts as the Chief Accountant and Auditor for the Union and State Governments. What is the meaning of prorogation in terms of Parliament? End of session of Parliament. If the Speaker of Lok Sabha wants to resign, to whom does he submit his resignation letter? Deputy Speaker. The Constitution of India lays down that the two houses of Parliament must be summoned at least twice a year. A member of Parliament will be suspended from his membership if he absents the House continuously for 60 days. Which one of the following committees is described as the twin sister of the Estimates Committee? Public Accounts Committee. Which parliamentary committee in India acts a watchdog on departmental expenditures and irregularities? Public Accounts Committee. In which house, the chairman of that house is not a member of House? Rajya Sabha. Who among the following presides over the Lok Sabha in the absence of Speaker or Deputy Speaker of the Lok Sabha? A person from the panel formed by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Who presides the joint sitting of Parliament? Speaker of Lok Sabha. Which article of the Constitution deals with money bills? Article 110. What is the gap period between first no confidence motion and second no confidence motion? 6 months. A motion moved by Member of Parliament when he feels a minister has committed a breach of privilege of the House is called privilege motion. Which article gives the power to the Parliament to make law on subjects of state list? Article 249. The chairman of Public Accounts Committee in Indian Parliament is Leader of Opposition. A money bill passed by the Lok Sabha is deemed to have been passed by the Rajya Sabha also when no action is taken by the upper house within 14 days. In Indian parliamentary functioning, 0R means time immediately following question R. The persons who can speak in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha being a member of Rajya Sabha are ministers who are members in Rajya Sabha. Who described Constitution of India as quasi-federal? K.C. Weir. The President of India has the same constitution powers which have British Crown. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution guarantees Indian citizens equality before law and equal protection of the laws. Which article of the Indian Constitution abolished the practice of untouchability? Article 17. Who had proposed the idea of three-tier Panchayati Raj system? Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. In which of the following matter the Supreme Court upheld the importance of fundamental rights over directive principles of state policy? Minerva Mills case. Reservation for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the services has been provided in the Indian Constitution under Article 335. Which is the competent body to prescribe conditions for acquisition of citizenship? Parliament. Which article of the Indian Constitution empowers the Parliament to regulate right of citizenship? Article 11. Indian Parliament can rename or redefine the boundary of a state by a simple majority. The maximum time a person can continue to be the minister of the state government without being a member the state legislature? 6 months. The ordinance by the governor are subject to approval of state legislature. In case no party enjoys absolute majority in the legislative assembly of a state, the governor will go by his own discretion. The Supreme Court is empowered to settle election disputes of President and Vice President. This is its original jurisdiction. In single transferable voting system, each member can express its verdict by Voting for all. Respect for national flag is a fundamental duty. What is the supreme law of India? Constitution. Which right was remarked by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the heart and soul of the Constitution? Right to constitutional remedies. Freeing the economy from all unnecessary controls and regulations is referred to as liberalization. From which year the policy of globalization of Indian economy has been followed? 1991. The law relating to prisoners of war, POW, has been codified by Geneva Convention, 1929. In extradition treaty, extradition means two countries will deport criminal on reciprocal basis to each other. Public holidays are declared under Negotiable Instruments Act. Which article of the Constitution of India empowers the President to dismiss state government? Article 356. President's rule under Article 356 of Constitution remains valid in the state for the maximum period of 6 months. Which is the authority for adjudication of disputes and complaints with respect to recruitment and conditions of service of persons appointed to public services and posts of Government of India? Central Administrative Tribunal, CAT. Which is the authority for adjudication of disputes and complaints with respect to recruitment and conditions of service of persons appointed under a state government? State Administrative Tribunal. The right to the constitutional remedies in India is available to all persons in case of infringement of any fundamental right. In the wake of the Stockholm Conference, the Government of India set up the National Committee on Environmental Planning and Coordination in the year 1972. Which judgment stated that secularism and federalism are the basic features of the Indian Constitution? S.R. Bommai case. The Election Commission is established under the Article 324. The right to vote in election to a parliament is a constitutional right. Sons of Soil movement is an example of regionalism. An unequal society is most prone to structural violence. Which article is for protection of interest of minorities? Article 29. The first joint sitting if both houses of Indian Parliament were held in connection with Dowry Abolition Bill. Who wrote that caste has been politicized, but in the process it has provided to Indian political process and symbols of political articulation? Rajini Kothari. Secularism is neither a religion nor indifference to religion but equal respect for all religions. Who said this? Indira Gandhi. The agenda for the meeting of the Council of Ministers is declared by Prime Minister. The President of India enjoys the right to veto only non-money bills. Which is part of the Electoral College for the election of the President of India but does not form part of the forum for his impeachment? State Legislative Assemblies. Amnesty International is a non-governmental organization based in the United Kingdom focused on human rights. The highest moral law is that we should unremittingly work for the good of mankind. Who said? Mahatma Gandhi. Separation of the judiciary from the executive has been provided in which part of the Indian Constitution? The Directive Principles of State Policy.
Thanks for watching Speed GK YouTube channel. Please support our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and also please share this video with your friends. Thank you.